Colonial Rear Guards is a solid event for the American player. It's just too bad it arrives in the mid-war and not earlier. This is a card that the USSR is going to want to mitigate. I will show you how it works for both players, here on Legendary Tactics. Colonial Rear Guards is the US equivalent of the Soviet event decolonization. Although it works the same way, because it arrives in the mid-war, it is necessarily utilized differently, and the USSR will need to know how to manage this card. We'll take a look at that all here, right now. First of all, let's take a look at the event. Colonial Rear Guards is a 2-op US mid-war event. Triggering the event allows the American player to place one influence in each of 4 different African or Southeast Asian countries. Because this influence is placed directly, there are no considerations about existing control. In other words, there is no additional cost to placing the influence in a country already controlled by your opponent, as there usually is. For the USSR, it is likely that you will send this one to the space race. 2 ops are just not enough to offset the 4 influence provided by the event to your opponent. As this card arrives in the mid-war, the more likely target of this influence will be in Africa, as Southeast Asia is likely locked down and may already be more or less under American control. So consider the situation in Africa if you are unable to send this card to space, and shore things up there if you must. As the US player, I'm always glad to see this event. It is just too bad that it arrives in the mid-war, potentially as late as turn 7, when its impact is much less than the Soviet equivalent, decolonization. This is a card that is perfect for play in your last action round, or even as a headline, to break control in multiple places, forcing the Soviet player to react and giving you some positive momentum. It can also be used just to reinforce positions that you already hold. It might be better to hold on to this card into the next turn if you don't have any immediate use for it. The 2 ops that you get are not tremendously exciting or impactful, and you're going to want to take this event basically all the time. You don't have to worry about it leaving the game, but you do generally want this great event to do something useful for you. Because of the timing of the arrival of this card, which might even be after the Southeast Asia scoring card has been played, you are likely going to be using this influence in Africa. If you've been locked out of Southeast Asia for some reason, this is an effective way back in. For example, placing influence in Burma can help you to regain access to India and Pakistan if you lost access due to the typical first-round coup of Iran. It doesn't hurt to put one of the influence provided by the event into Thailand. This can either break Soviet control or put yourself in a position to go over the top with the ops provided by the China card when the opportunity presents itself. And certainly placing influence in Southeast Asia ahead of the Southeast Asia scoring card being played is a worthwhile investment. But again, typically this is going to be to consolidate or disrupt the situation in Africa, especially with all those one stability battleground countries. This card can be used effectively in combination with the event Puppet Governments. For example, play Puppet Governments on your last action round, play into some empty countries, and then follow up with Colonial Rear Guards to hopefully lock things down. So in summary, for the USSR, this is almost always a card you will send to space. And for the US, you will almost always take this card for the event. Use it to destabilize things as much as possible, especially as an Action Round 7 play. This has been our analysis of the Colonial Rear Guards card in Twilight Struggle. We hope you got some value out of this, and if you did, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Legendary Tactics.